Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. As a highly transmissible Delta variant of COVID-19 continues to spread, companies are looking for solutions for their workforce. President Biden called on the Occupational Safety and Health Administration to draw up rules for requiring companies to require proof of vaccination and/or weekly COVID testing of their employees if they have more than 100 workers. Here to discuss how employers can better understand how their workforce is feeling about returning to work, and more importantly, how to bring employees back safely and compliantly, is David Palmieri, GM at Nasdaq-listed ADP. David, it's great to meet with you. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks, Jill. It's great to be here.
And David, the pandemic has clearly brought tremendous change to the workforce. As companies continue to navigate this change, what are you seeing as the most critical needs in order to move towards managing a hybrid workforce?
Yeah, well, this has obviously been a very challenging time for both employers and employees, and everybody's had to learn an entirely new way of working. I think in this next phase, the first priority for employers needs to continue to be the safety of their employees. And I think that means both their physical well-being as well as their mental and emotional well-being. And to that end, communication is really key. So employers need to be as transparent as possible about their reopening plans, and they need to keep a close watch on the sentiment of their employees as they bring people back into the workplace. So, with so many employees working from home, employee engagement using digital tools is more important than ever. And finally, I think there's no one size fits all approach. Companies need to remain flexible as conditions change and develop plans that are appropriate for their situation, which is why we've designed ADP's return to the workplace solutions to be as flexible as possible.
So how does your latest solution work?
Yeah, so the ADP Return to the Workplace Toolkit is a platform that we first rolled out in August of 2020 that enables companies to plan and execute and monitor their worksite reopenings. So first, it lets HR practitioners plan a reopening strategy by letting them segment their employees into groups by any kind of factors such as location and role, and then send surveys out to those employees to assess their sentiment and their readiness to come back into the workplace. And then the tool lets companies schedule employee return dates and then deploy a daily health check-in, which we call an attestation, which is kind of like a daily health pass. And then finally, it gives the HR practitioner a dashboard to monitor survey responses and trends over time, which is especially important as it lets companies monitor how their teams are feeling. And in fact, we're actually using this toolkit here at ADP to manage our return to the office strategy for our nearly 60,000 employees.
That's great. Let's go a little bit deeper into the specifics. What prompts does it give to the employee?
Yeah, so for the employee experience, we use the ADP mobile app to notify employees that they have a survey to complete. So they can just then go into the mobile app, perform the daily check-in, report in how they're feeling about coming back into the workplace. And then as soon as vaccines were widely available, we added a vaccination status survey as well that lets employees report their vaccination status, whether they're partially or fully vaccinated, and even the date when their vaccination was completed. And we also recently added a COVID test question where employees can report whether they have a negative COVID test in lieu of a vaccination, which is perfect given the new direction from the White House for employers with 100 employees or more. And finally, HR practitioners can monitor the results and send reminders by email and push notifications to the mobile phones of their employees who have not responded to the surveys yet.
Would this app also handle COVID booster shots?
Yeah, that's a great question. This has really been a constantly evolving situation, so we've had to be very agile and responsive to adapting this tool to changing conditions, and booster shots are a great example of that. So boosters were recently approved for certain groups, so an accurate assessment of employee vaccination status is going to have to include that. So we're actively working on an enhancement that will allow employees to indicate whether or not they've had a booster shot. So that's coming soon, and we'll continue to update the app as the situation changes.
And there's been some news about vaccine fraud. How does ADP's Return to Workplace solution handle that fraud?
Yeah, another great question. So our tool actually gives employers the option to require proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test if they want to turn that feature on. So if they turn it on, employees who respond that they've been fully vaccinated are prompted in the ADP mobile app to upload a photo of their CDC vaccination record. Or if they respond that they have a negative COVID test, they can be prompted to upload a copy of their negative test results as well. And then HR practitioners can use the dashboard to view this data in their ADP cloud-based portal to verify that employees who've answered those questions.
And what have your clients said about this app? Is it working well for them?
Yeah, the response has been great. We have thousands of clients of all sizes across all of our major multiple HCM platforms using the app. And those clients are using it to manage the return of hundreds of thousands of employees. And those employees have completed millions of surveys. So, and I should add that ADP has made this capability available to our clients at no extra charge. And I think that companies really appreciate that we've thought through all the details of this return process for them. And I think employees appreciate the simple, intuitive user interface and the experience of using it right on their mobile phones.
And David, any last pieces of advice for HR and senior leadership handling this new environment?
Yeah, again, I think the key is communication and listening to your employees. It's obviously been a very tough year and a half for everyone. And it's also, I think it's important to take a data-driven approach. And tools like the one that I've described today can really help companies on both of those fronts. And finally, again, remain flexible and adapt as conditions change and the particular situation at your company changes. And certainly we're doing that with all the tools that we're creating for our clients.
All right, David, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.